Welcome to another edition of Paulie TV. I'm the champ, Paulie Malignaggi, and today I got a couple of guests. The first one is going to be hosting with me. I'm the champ, but this is the commish right here. Randy Gordon. For all you old school boxing fans, you guys will know Randy Gordon was the president of the New York State Athletic Commission from 88 to 95. Some glory years, some glorious times back then. He also has some other accolades. Randy, what were you, the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine?
Boy. In a nutshell, there was World Boxing, International Boxing, Big Book of Boxing. There was also the Wrestler Inside Wrestling and Apartment House Wrestling, for those of you wrestling fans. Then we moved on to Ring Magazine. From there, we went to ESPN, USA Network, Madison Square Garden Network, and the New York State Athletic Commission, Sirius XM Radio, and now you and me.
Randy, you're skipping one. My second pro fight. You did the in-ring post-fight interview. My second pro fight.
Absolutely. And you know what? We only found that recently.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and check out Paulie Malignaggi, and you'll see some of the early fights. You, what were you, 19 years old?
No, I was 20 years old. Close.
20
years old, but I was a bit hyper. I was a bit too hyper. I mean, some people think I'm hyper now, but if you think I'm hyper now, you shouldn't even watch this post-fight interview because I'm losing my mind in the post-fight interview. I don't know whether I was coming or going, but Randy's trying to calm me down. It's actually a funny memory now looking back at it. It was July 2001, and it was my second pro fight. So Randy had all these accolades, and he was doing some commentary on a local New York show, and he got me in the ring, and off I went. But you, as you also mentioned, you've got the show with Jerry Cooney on Sirius. I'm sure some of you know this as well. I'm sure some of you watching right now have probably heard Randy on the radio with Jerry. You got a weekly show?
Every Monday, every Friday on Sirius XM, channel 156. We're on from noon until 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's just so much fun being around the old big puncher and Jerry Cooney and the young, it's still like you're 20 years old. You haven't stopped. Yeah, you haven't stopped talking. And, no. I mean, anybody who can out-talk me is like, and you're in extra high gear. We love it.
Well, I love it too. You know, I'm trying to stay young, at least in my mind, even if my body doesn't cooperate all the time. You know what I'm saying? But
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So, champ, commish, and what do we have today?
Who?
Vargas Dynasty's back.
Oh.
Fernando Vargas Jr. What's going on, Fernando?
Hey, what's up, Paulie? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, my pleasure. You know, we got to talk about your fifth pro fight, your American debut. Your American debut again. You fought Cody Kobowski on the Thurman Barrios card. So how was it to make first off, you know, let's jump right into it, man. Last time I had you on, you know, you had your whole family on. We were discussing a lot of topics. Personally, I felt like I could have talked to you for like 3 hours. I mean, I actually felt ashamed that we had to cut off the show because, and a lot, you know, it's funny. A lot of people that listen to that show tell me like, "Yo, I could have just listened to you. I got lost in time."
Oh yeah,
it was that kind of conversation. And truly, I felt the same way, man. I felt like I was vibing.
Yeah, for sure.
In like one of my like Italian cafes with espressos, we were just vibing and just talking and chilling. I mean, it was that kind of conversation. Anybody that hasn't seen it yet, check it out. You know, on Paulie TV, we've still got it up on your YouTube. But let's get into your American debut, fifth pro fight. You know, we were talking about last time how you were getting ready for that. First of all, how was it to have your American debut on such a big card? You know, I mean, you know, sometimes you've got guys, and we discussed this before, and we've discussed this several times, even off the air, where it's both a blessing and a curse to have to come from the boxing pedigree that you come from. You know, the blessing is more people pay attention to you than they normally would at this stage in your career. The curse is people expect more of you than they normally would for a prospect of your level at this stage in your career. So, you know, first and foremost, how you handle it, and then we'll go into the fight.
Okay. No, it was definitely a blessing being there, man. Just knowing that I'm touching that soil, being there in Mandalay Bay, and a lot of fighters could say that. And my dad fought some of his bigger fights there. Man. Trinidad, who could forget? Yep. I can't watch that fight personally because I'm his son, and it's like, that's my daddy, man, you know, and the ref could have done a lot more things than he should have, you know, and just different things. My dad was unexperienced, so he took him to deep waters, and, you know, but at the end of the day, my dad fought his ass off, and I feel that's what boxing fans respect him to this day. He was mobbed and loved, and I had people, and I wasn't even on the main card on the pay-per-view, and people were waiting after us. You know, my dad had the 90, there were some fans that had the 96 team with my dad, Floyd, you had Nate Jones, you had, you know, Zabazal, just to see how the fans really still love my dad to this day. I'm truly grateful, but it was definitely something that I took in, and I really couldn't take it all in right then and there. But it was just something that felt so new to me, but it felt so right. You know what I mean? I know that I belong there, and I want to continue to prove to people that I belong there.
Well, it's the dynasty, right? I mean, you know, it's like the next generation comes along, and you know, I think places like the Mandalay Bay, where your father has main evented, and some other places as well. I mean, I think the goal would be for you and your brothers to main event there as well.
Definitely.
I mean, I would, you know, and it just goes to show you how the past and the present come full circle in that way, you know. Your father was loved, and it's funny. One of the reasons your father was loved because he was a no excuse, no BS kind of guy. So
no
like,
BS.
I also feel like the referee could have done more in that fight.
You know what I'm talking about? The low blows. Like, come on, bro.
But the funny thing is, I've never heard your father in 20 years since ever complain about it. Like, that's the kind of guy he was. You know what I mean? That's the kind of fighter he was. He was like, you know, you go at it and that's it. And I think I've told you this. You know, you see, we're gonna talk about your American debut,
cool,
but now
cool.
we're stuck on this fight. I don't know if you remember it, Randy, the Vargas Trinidad fight from 2000 for the year 2000.
Absolutely. I mean, I was ringside for that fight. I mean, I yelled myself hoarse. And by the way, I don't remember what fight it was, but you were about 1 year old.
I was really young, Paulie, right?
You were. Who would have known that about 24 years later, we're going to be sitting in the studio interviewing you
about his career, his own career,
about your career, which is on a fast track.
Thank you.
You know, coming from such a pedigree, your father, you've got two younger brothers who are both looking like they're going to be stars.
The future. They're the future.
What kind of pressure does that, Paulie asked you about the pressure. Do you have to be better than them? Do they rib you? Like the other night, you had yourself, what was it, third round stoppage.
Yes.
Rate, give yourself a grade, A+, A, where were you?
I give myself a B-. I thought I could have knocked him out.
Why?
Because my dad was telling me touch a little bit, because the load-up shot, I was trying to do it from the outside, and you touch to cut the distance a little bit. When I reviewed the fight, I was like, I see
was
what
that the anxiety of wanting to look good in that American debut on that stage?
Because Paulie,
it's natural, bro. It's natural. Emotion plays into it. Some people, that's the thing about people get on my nerves about when they're on the couch. Like, yo,
like, be real,
bro.
be real.
You don't take the emotion into it. You got to take the emotion into it. Just to go off subject quickly, but actually comes into play. They made a movie about the airline pilot Scully, whatever his name was, the one that landed in the Hudson River in New York, right? And remember in the movie they're talking about how they were trying to get him in trouble because he didn't have to land in the water. He could have went back to LaGuardia. The plane could have landed. And at the end they realize the computer model is not taking emotion into factoring anything. When you factor emotion, everything is a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
And that's what people at home sometimes when they're watching a fight don't take into account. You have to factor in emotion when it comes to decision making of these fights, and especially early in your career, especially being thrust into this spotlight so early in your career because of the royalty of your last name. It plays into it. So tell us about that.
Look, me and my brother, I know you remember, me and Amado were supposed to headline that thing. Not headline, but I mean, like, as far as the Vargas dynasty represent, is me and Amado. So I'm like, all right, cool. One thing leads to another. I don't believe I could speak on that right now, but he wasn't able to fight. For whatever reason, fights fall through.
Of course, especially early in your career. It happens all the time.
So I'm kind of like, I'm being real with you, bro. Like, everyone now, and I'm talking about everyone from Cali, we're from California, so you got Theos and Theas coming and support. And
now it's only you.
And now it's only me. So now, and I was gonna speak on that. Honestly, when you're there, bro, you can't think of, I'm Fernando Vargas' son, and they're gonna compare me to him. I gotta be this extra badass. I don't think about that. I think about everything I did in camp. I ran Mount Charleston. I sparred at least 3 times a week. I'm the one that cut this weight. So at the end of the day, not to be boastful of myself, but it's me in there fighting. So I don't have time to think about that. People are gonna talk about you whether you're good, bad, or doing terrible. People are gonna talk about you at your funeral. So I had no time to really think about that. But before the fight, when I was getting my hands wrapped, because right now we're free agents. A lot of people think that we're signed to PBC because I fought there. But we have the choice and luxury to kind of move around here or kind of move around there. We're signed to Klimas. He has Usyk and
Lomachenko.
has Lomachenko. But at the end of the day, we could kind of move a little bit because wherever we go, regardless, people are going to tune in, like Paulie said, because of our father. But do I lie to you guys and say that I don't think about it? Of course not. I do think about it. But you gotta kind of, it's a double-edged sword. It helps you a lot, but they also critique you. I don't know, he should have got a knockout. This, you could have got him out of there the first round. But I'm glad it went the way it went because I was able to showcase my boxing ability. I was able to show my skills. At the end of the day, I give myself a B- because I didn't get the knockout. And because I let it go 3 rounds, I could have gone out of the first round.
You're a tough teacher.
I could have gone to the body more too. But in a perfect world, that's what I would have.
You always got to be your own worst critic, no matter what. I
want to get better.
I think it keeps you hungry.
Yes.
It keeps you motivated.
But regardless, I'm still 5-5 knockouts. Let's not get that.
Of course, yeah. Let's not give any haters any gasoline.
RKO, no matter how you want to.
Okay, you know the 168-pounder, Edgar Berlanga. He went like 15 consecutive first-round knockout, first-round knockout. He was on with us telling us, there's no pressure here. He later told us, oh, my God, I was so glad that was over. You're 5-0, 5 knockouts. You're going to be 6-0, 6 knockouts. Sooner or later, Paulie and I are going to say to you, you're 8-0, you're 10-0, 10 knockouts. Are you feeling the pressure that maybe one day you're going to go 8 rounds or something like that? Do you feel that all of a sudden now people are looking at you as a knockout puncher? You're going to knock out everybody.
I don't care about that.
It doesn't happen.
I have power. I've had power since I was a little kid. I know I got power in both hands. My whole thing is this. The name of the game is to hit and not get hit, right? That's what my dad says. If I would have listened to my corner a little bit better and box, my father says, be smart first before you use your pantalones, before you use your courage. You got to be smart in there. You start a fight, what? Boxing. You get hurt, you box. You end a fight, boxing. You can never go wrong boxing.
What's the saying? You guys say inteligente.
Primero inteligente, luego valiente. So that's basically what it is translated. But my whole thing is this. I don't have a pressure to knock everyone out. Nah, I'm not going to go ahead and give myself this stigma where I have to live by it.
We'll see when you're 9-0 with 9 knockouts. We'll be back at you.
But if it happens, it happens. Mm-hmm. All I want to do is continue to look better every fight. And obviously, of course, continue to get the dub.
And here's another thing, too, and something you're learning as well. Accolades don't come in the ring with you. They don't win fights for you.
They don't.
Your opponent really doesn't care about them at all. The guy, that's the most important thing.
Listen, I've knocked out Olympians, and I'm not going to put them out there like that. Olympians that represented the United States. I've wobbled world champions, current, right now, top. And I'm not going to give you weight class, but I'm just letting you know right now. Now, I'm a type of fighter where I'm not gonna put people's business out there like that. Yeah, I'm not like that. My dad,
that's the way it was in my generation. And your father's from before my generation.
Because sparring, you can't look at a highlight reel and say when it matters when the lights are on. How come you didn't do that then? There's so many fighters that my dad has seen. Oh my gosh, this guy in the gym throwing 3, 4, 6, 7 jabs, pullbacks. You're looking sharp, getting people out of there, knocking them out. The lights come on.
Yeah.
The crowd, the energy.
The small gloves.
The small
they
gloves. They
hurt more.
Man, they do hurt.
Yeah.
Man, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But I do like knocking people out, though.
We're talking to Fernando Vargas Jr.
I'm trying to eat.
Here's a question that you're 5-0. You've got so much ability, as you said. We all know it. Do you think you could be fast-tracked to a title, let's say maybe within 5 more fights? Now, take a look at some guys like David Morrell. He is a freak, and I think he's ready for anybody with 5 fights. You look at a guy like Lomachenko, first fight, he wanted a world title shot. But most guys don't do that. They need 15, 20 fights. What's your opinion on that?
I'm going to trust my team, my management. My father, he knows when I'm ready. Even if I say, Dad, I could get him. Come on, Dad, I'll easy. I'll knock this dude out. I'll give him a box and I'll box my ears off. Nah, son. Wait a little bit more. Just wait.
Right.
Just trust me. I've been here before. You know what my dad tells me? He says, son, I'm grabbing you by the hand. I said, come on. You want to make some money? You want to be world champion? Come on, come. And then this is what I do because I'm a junior and I think I know it all. Nah, Dad, I got it. Yeah. Let me do it my way. It's a new generation, baby. Let me show you. We do it better.
It's a little bit like Rocky 5. With Tommy Gunn wants to rush and Rocky's trying to hold him back. It's funny because these things do happen. Yeah,
we're talented. We got charisma. The newer generation, we feel we could do it better than the past. But you got to give honor where honor's due, man. The former champions had that. You get up at 5 o'clock. I tell my dad, what if I run at 8? I'm still getting my 8 p.m. I'm still getting my run in. Nah, son. It's that old school. It's that old school that keeps you there, right, champ? I mean, it's just my dad's old school like that.
Based.
It's principle based.
It builds that backbone. You know?
So I just feel with that, let's just say I'm ready 9, 10 fights, 11 fights.
Okay.
If my management says yes, let's do it. If my dad says yes, let's do it. If not, I'm going to listen to my team. Look at Floyd. He's robbing the bank. He's coming to every fight exhibition with ski masks because he's robbing the bank.
And he knows he's robbing.
And he knows he is.
And he's telling you at home.
And we can say this. Floyd, you're not fighting real fighters. You're fighting YouTubers, man. But you know what he's doing?
He knows. But he knows. That's why he's robbing. That's why he's got the ski mask on. He knows he's playing everybody for fools. And that's why you got to love it. No, you got to love it. Sorry. I can't knock it. I can't knock it. He's letting you know he's robbing the bank. And
Jake Paul.
And he's robbing you.
Get me on your undercard, please.
I got to know this.
Get me on your undercard.
For the fans who are watching you and hearing you for the very first time, you are, Paulie, this guy is like one of those, we say a breath of fresh air.
Well, yeah.
What were
Thank you.
like?
Appreciate that.
What were you like in school? Were you, and you got to be honest
And
here,
that's the thing.
were you the class bully?
No,
Were you the class nerd? Were you the class bookworm? Were
But
you
he's a
jock?
personality. But you see, like, I also feel like this comes from because your father basically was
always
young
been
in front
around
of the
this
camera.
stuff.
So
I've
you've been
always
around
been-
this
yeah.
stuff. Exactly. I was just going to say that you grew up in this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if you weren't the one, he wasn't the one fighting and he wasn't the one in the front of the camera. His father was, and he was with his father. And he's watching it, you know. And those are the
That
first
part.
impressions of his life.
Were you the popular kid in school? Everybody wanted to, like, kind of be around you and touch you.
My
and
friends
be in
that are
your-
girls never complained. I mean,
And that's what I mean. You got to have the right answer when the questions like that come, right?
I don't know.
Now, where I'm going with this is, you know, Paulie and I see so many fighters out there who can fight. They were born without personalities. It's like
We
you
were just
gotta
talking about this.
drag it out of them. You are sitting here, and I'm like, oh my God, boxing has itself another new star. And, you know, for a guy
Thank
who's
you.
been around Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and everybody else, and Sugar Ray Leonard, I'm like, oh my God, another one is here. Another one is here. I see it. I feel it. I've watched your fights. I know what you're made of. Don't change a thing. Just keep listening to your dad.
And that is another thing.
I might change my hairstyle though. I might do the little bangs like the 90s.
Yeah,
Nah, I'll play it,
yeah,
I'll
like
play
your
it.
father.
but go ahead.
No, but I'll tell you one thing. The brash confidence, you got to be able to live and die with it.
You have
know,
to.
here's the thing. It's going to attract people that love you,
Yeah.
but it's also going to attract a lot of negativity.
For sure.
People are jealous, and people don't like that too. You know what
Yeah,
I
the
mean?
haters are out there.
So, but
I'm just like, if I didn't believe in myself, I should have played basketball or something. Because
but Fernando,
you
here's
could
the
blame
thing.
people.
But here's the thing. The reactions you're getting, that's the important thing. Well, even when I was young, I used to get so pissed. Like I would play the bad guy,
Yeah.
and they get mad and people didn't like me.
Yeah.
Like you can't have it both
no,
ways. You know what I
right.
mean? Like you want to be brash and confident. The important thing is they're knowing you. They're talking about you. You know what I mean? Like, and yes, I kind of knew what people would tell me. Yo, they still gonna be talking about you. Yeah, but I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Well, then they discredit me. They say I'm not as good. They say I'm not as good as I am, and all this other stuff. But bro, man, as long as they're talking about you, man. As long as they're talking about you, you know what I mean?
But
I
you
still
know-
got them talking about me. Somehow, I still got them talking about me. I don't even know how
Yeah.
sometimes. You know,
I
that's the thing. You carry it, and eventually you just make it happen in the ring. And that's it, man. They got to talk about you. They stay talking about you.
100%. I feel like this, Paulie, is like, you know what, man? I was talking to my brother about this, Emmy, and the love outweighs the bad, man. Yeah, you have the people. There's something in your teeth, like they're trying to like
the
see if
negative
you're
stays out
perfect.
more
Like,
in your
bro,
mind, though.
I have a booger in my nose. Yes. You like, bro, I'm human. I farted for sure. Yeah, I did. But you know what?
You know, it's funny.
You feel me, bro?
Yeah,
Like,
bro,
what-
you know, I remember Method Man doing an interview one time, and he said something like this. He was like, you know, people be like I'm not a normal person. It's like when you're a kid, you look at people like it's larger than life. You're like your math teacher. And Method Man, I literally remember this about the interview. He goes, Method Man is in his prime in the Wu-Tang days, and he goes, picture your math teacher taking a shit. He's like, and I'm like, and I was a kid, I'm like, yeah, I guess that's what he means. You know what I mean? Like you don't picture like these larger than life figures, but they're just like you. You know what I mean?
And it's like I was telling him, I said, he was telling me actually, you know what, bro? He was like, you know what, bro? The love outweighs the bad. You know, they're gonna speak, they're gonna say whatever they want to say, but there's a lot more people that support us and love us than outweigh the bad. You know, I'm not trying to be Floyd and be like this villain, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna speak my mind a little bit, and I believe that's okay. You're gonna get respected, loved, or hated for that, but it's okay.
But people also want to hear your thoughts.
For sure.
I mean, you don't want to be a robot too. I think when you give your thoughts, yeah, you're gonna have people that agree and disagree with
Right.
you, but it's cool to give your thoughts.
Yeah,
it
is.
becomes a talking point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like when I've given my thoughts, yeah, a lot of times people disagree or they agree, but it becomes a talking point. You know, people want to discuss what you think. You know what I mean? You become enough of a polarizing figure, people are gonna want to discuss what you think about something. Some people might call you a jerk off for thinking like that. Some people will be like, oh, he's the man. That's why he's the man, because he thinks this way. You know, you're gonna get it from both angles. That's kind of what having a public image is. And you know, you're learning that, you're seeing that even early in your career. I want to go into the fight now. You know, you give yourself a B-. Personally, my favorite thing about that, there's things you're always going to be able to see that you can work on. Your reaction timing on those counters. You know what I mean? I even commented on that Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the timing because you practice it in the gym. I also see the mean streak there. You know what I mean? Like, you're not timing them with just for the fact of time. You're timing with mean intentions, bad intentions coming.
Trying to knock him out. He's tough.
Yeah,
that dude's tough.
They're gonna get tougher and tougher, but nonetheless,
he has to be Mexican, man.
Yeah, but bro, I'll tell you this: as you raise the level of opponents,
they're gonna get harder for sure.
What I'm saying, not just harder. What I noticed and what I kind of always kept in mind, the resistance will be more. Like your early opponents, a couple of good shots, and they kind of lose. They get them out of there, or they kind of lose the desire to win. They kind of start surviving or whatever. Then as you get old, you get a little better, you got to hit them a little bit more to take that winning mentality out. I call it the winning mentality. You can kind of see when a fighter doesn't have the winning mentality anymore, even if he's still there.
Makes
even
sense.
if he's sometimes they start to trying to survive. And it becomes a little harder to break the winning mentality out of them, but you do break it. Then you reach a world-class level, bro. It's like you're on par now, bro. Because you don't get the winning mentality broken out of you, and they don't get the winning mentality broken out of them. And then it's a battle of skill, attrition, everything. But that's where all the money and all the fame is too, man. That's why it's there. You know what I mean? That's what you're trying to get to.
I got to work hard to get to where you got to, Paulie. And people can say what they want to say about you, but you could say when you die today, you're a world champion.
Oh yeah, twice, mofos, twice.
You know what I'm
once.
saying? Paulie, man, you know, and a lot of people can say, oh, well, he just commentates and this. No, he's a world champion twice. So don't forget it. You know, I love. And on a side note, I love when another world champion, a little older, when they see a current world champion or a world champion sees another world champion, and the homage that they give each other. Yeah. Me, as I'm a boxing fan just looking now. Now I'm not even son of nobody now. Yes, it's a camaraderie. And I see that and I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful, man. Like, you did what I did and we accomplished the same things together, you know? Maybe not together, but we still accomplished our dream, which is to hear and the new.
You understand each other's road, the footsteps each one of us went through, you know? But I tell you, on the same token, as a fan, this is me as a boxing fan, and I think I speak to all boxing fans, when you start seeing the children of people you rooted for,
that's dope.
It also makes you a fan. You know what I mean? Your
Paulie.
father is one of those fighters that had a lot of love from fans, you know what I mean? Because he just had the personality and the cojones, you know, the fighting machismo that people just love, you know? And I think, personally speaking, like I said, I think I speak for a lot of fans when I say this, you know, you see the sons and you're like, oh, these kids are skilled, man. I'm like, oh man, these are gonna be fun guys to root for because you already rooted for your father.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So for me, it does make me feel old. You know, we talked about it before on the show.
Paulie, you're old.
But at the same time, it's also cool to be able to get excited about the next generation.
Yeah.
Give us a reason to get a little bit more excited about the next generation. I mean, don't get me wrong. The 96 Olympians in general, I feel like they were a special bunch. And that they created a lot of championship level fighters. You got Floyd, you got Antonio Tarver, you got your father, David Reed became a world champion. Mm-hmm. I think was Morrell on that team too?
The original I don't David remember. Morrell. I don't think so.
The 112 pounder.
Antonio Tarver, he was old though. He was like me, old.
But nonetheless, you know, it was a special group, and like when I see like all of them like getting older, like I remember your father carrying you on his shoulders.
Crazy, right?
I remember really, that's the mental picture I have.
A lot of fans say that.
I remember Floyd after he beat Corrales with his daughter. Yeah. Now she's an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, yo, you see all this, and you're like, oh man, that's crazy. I'm old, man. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, you know. And when you start seeing the children of your heroes, you know, like start performing. in boxing, like you guys, or even in other sports, where you're like, damn, like, you know, like everybody talks about Steph Curry, man. I remember Del Curry playing basketball. You know what I mean? I remember Del Curry as a basketball player. People talk about Steph Curry. I'm like, yo, I'm old, man. Del Curry's son is a superstar. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But
man.
at the same time, it gives you an extra excitement for the next phase of your life.
I
You know,
appreciate that, Paulie.
you're in this phase of your life, and I know what it's like. It's exciting, it's whatever. But even for somebody like me, I can't get excited for my own career anymore. It's over. It's a past. But I've got a reason to be excited about other careers like yours, you know, because I rooted for your father. And like, you know, Randy talks about he was ringside at the Trinidad fight. I think I told you guys when we were at the Jojo Diaz versus Haney fight.
Right.
I remember when the night your father fought Trinidad, I fought a final of a New York tournament. It was the New York Metro tournament.
Okay.
And I remember it was the night of Trinidad Vargas fight. And I remember telling my friends, bro, man, I hope they put me on early enough when I fight and we get to go to hell home and fight. I get this fight, man, get there before the main event. Man, as soon as I fought, I won the fight. Got the hell out of there, went to my boy's house, and we turned it on just in time. Your father was breaking through that brick wall through his entrance. I mean, literally just in time for the walkouts. You know, that's all I saw. Awesome. I didn't see the pre-fight hype. I just saw the walkouts and then right to the ring, you know? And I remember thinking, and I think I told you this too, I remember thinking when your father got dropped, I mean, the second time he got dropped, I'm like, man, this sucks. Not because I was, you know, anti-Trinidad. I was rooting for Fernando, obviously. I was rooting for your father. He was, you know, for me, I related to him more.
Right.
And I knew Trinidad was a badass. But I just felt this fight was such a good fight. And sometimes guys get clipped in the first round. And I feel like it can be such a great fight and then people are never going to know. You know, because sometimes you just get caught. And when he goes down a second time, I'm like, man, this sucks. This would have been such a good fight. And now it's about to end in round one. And when you get a first round knockout, you don't get no rematches. You know, and I was like, this sucks, man. I'm like, this would have been such a good fight. Like, this freaking sucks. And instead, man, this dude gets up and, yo, he lives up to it, man. He lives up. He gets up. He drops him in the fourth round. Yo, it was the fight. It was the fight that I was talking about.
It's when he beat your boy Campas, becoming the youngest. I'm sorry, but Canelo's not the youngest. I'll tell you why. You know why.
I know.
He fought Ricky Hatton's brother at a catchweight.
Yeah.
It's not legitimate 154.
No.
This is the youngest.
For a vacant title, I don't get how Matthew Hatton got put in for a vacant title when he was never fought at the weight class. That's not, I didn't understand.
And not only that, a shout out to Bam, Campeon, and the new. I knew you were. It was a tough fight. I love the way you use angles like Loma. I see a lot of Loma in you. But
that kid's a badass.
You're the youngest. You're the youngest champion right now in boxing. So I want to take my hat off to you. My dad knows what that feels, and I'm sure you're on top of the world champ. So shout out to RGBA and Bam. But yeah, you know that fight was crazy.
Get that?
This is my very first tattoo. This was like
that's nice work too, man. Whoever did it,
that's your first.
18 hours, 2 sessions.
Yo, shout out to the artist, man.
The one intro.
Straight up, man. That's some nice work.
Thank you.
Man. That's not an easy piece to do. That's great work.
And he got the emotion in it. You see the
emotion, the
face?
details in the belt. I mean, it's like, yo, that's some nice work, man. That's good.
People are like, what is that, Panda? No. My nickname is Papas. My dad would always have on his trunks, Papas. Papas, yeah. So he would have me, Papas, and then Prieto, which means dark kid, which is a model, the curly guy. Mm-hmm. And then he would have Emmy or Emiliano on his trunks, and then China, the last one. But you know what, man? It's crazy because my dad, his career ended the way it ended. But I want to say this. You're damned if you got it right, like Canelo. Oh, he should have fought Triple G earlier, and he didn't, you know. So a guy that's managed and moved right gets criticized. But someone who fights everyone super early gets criticized too. He got fed to the wolves, to the dogs too early.
It's better to get there because I tell you what, I used to tell people this. I used to tell people, as long as you get there and win, because if you get there early, you make everybody happy. Oh, see, okay, he's gonna fight some. Then you get knocked off. You get your career ended. Nobody's gonna ever talk about you again.
You can lose.
You never got there.
Yes.
You never got there. It's better that they at least are talking about you.
Yes.
That's why I tell people about me. You know what? There's pros and cons to my career, but I did enough to make people keep talking about me.
100%.
If there's guys that they got rushed too much, I tell you, man, there's a lot of guys, super talented guys that when I was an amateur, guys that were more talented than me that never made it. You know, either they got rushed too much or something else happened. Nobody talks about them. Nobody will ever know their name. Nobody will ever know their name, and that was my fear, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad that with the guys that were moving my career, guys like Johnny Boz early in my career. Shout out to Johnny Boz, rest in peace. Man, that guy was the man. I tell you, I appreciate him. I appreciate him now.
Awesome.
More than I could have back then. Rest in peace to Johnny Boz. He was a boxing legend that never got the credit he deserved. But you know, I'm glad for situations that got me there because I'll tell you, when you don't get there, nobody's ever gonna talk about you again. That's it. It's done.
And you know how the boxing fans are?
Oh, of course.
They're cruel, man. I saw this thing on Box Raw. I want to show this to you, Paulie. It says, let me pull it up so I say it word for word. This is crazy, but it's true.
What site are you going for here?
This is an Instagram page. It says boxing has the greatest keyboard warriors.
Oh yeah,
and that's
Get
so
some
true.
hype.
Oh,
They can say whatever they want to say
keyboard.
about you, Paulie, but at the end of the day, they're not doing no bare knuckle. They're not really fighting someone. They're not world champion. They're a fat, I picture a boxing fan, a fat Mexican who's picking his belly button, eating carne asada, getting drunk. He could throw 5 more jabs. Come on, Doc. Come on, fool. He could have done this.
But
fool.
he can't punch or
Who cares?
Or he got no chin or whatever.
You know the name Paulie Malignaggi. You've heard of it, bro. So don't act like you don't know who he is. So you can't keep everyone happy, but like you said, as long as they talk about you.
People, you can make some of the people happy some of the time, but you can't make all of the people happy all of the time.
That's it.
I
That's
always
perfect
try
right
to
there.
live with that.
I like that.
Because it's true.
And you know what, Paulie? We were following each other on social media for a good time before we actually met in person. So it's like I knew Paulie, but I didn't know him. You know, those people you follow, but you mess with, and they
Where
like your
are you
story.
on Instagram so our viewers can get over
let
to
them
you?
know.
Fernando Vargas _Jr. And I want to say this. Instagram, you need to verify me already because it's ridiculous.
And I know lesser people than you've ever verified.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're not verified, get this guy verified already, man.
My management is verifying,
together.
is doing everything to verify me, but it's ridiculous now. I fought on PBC, and anyways, that's a side note. But so I see Paulie at that Jojo Diaz and Devin Haney fight. He's right behind me. I'm like, yo, Paulie. Oh shit, we started hugging each other like we met and like we've been longtime friends, and it's the power of social media, right?
Yeah.
But Paulie, I just take my hat off to you, man, because out of a lot of people in boxing, you know your shit, and you keep it 100, bro. And I like that.
I try to.
I like that.
People, sometimes people love the truth, and sometimes people don't like the truth.
Right.
I mean, whatever it is, I'll give you. You'll know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
That's what I always tell
100%.
people. Whatever it is, you'll know what's on my mind. You may agree, you may disagree. You're free to agree and disagree. For now, it's a free country. You know what I mean? For now, at least we'll
Fernando Vargas Jr.
Yes.
You are one of the bright, as I said, the bright young faces in the sport, the new breed, if you will. Let me throw a few names at you, and I'm sure you know all of them. Heavyweight, Jared Anderson.
Oh, that boy.
Do you think he's a future superstar?
For sure. He's a superstar right now. And if you deny it, you're just, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's
You're beating
on his
around
way,
the bush. He's on his way. He's coming.
Okay.
He's the best American
power,
heavyweight
for
coming
sure.
up, right? I mean, I don't think there's a better
I still
American
remember
prospect at heavyweight division.
knocking this dude out. Yeah, very good. Very good. I
Okay.
like him.
This guy it's not that he's a veteran. He's already a champion, but he's so young and he's moving up very quick. Could be pound for pound #1 very soon. Shakur Stevenson.
Shakur Stevenson, very talented fighter. I honestly, before fights, and I'm being real with you, look at some of he's so sharp, the way he puts his punches. I like the way he comes up, uppercut 2, 3.
Fundamentally,
just sound. You know what he is? And my dad tells me, he's a distance fighter. He's one of those fighters that knows his distance.
Yeah.
He does every shot for him, he's scoring.
Yeah, he
And
knows his range.
He knows his range. So
Two more names.
But before we move on,
Okay.
man, his brother was actually sparring
Yeah.
Shakur at a young age. His brother Emiliano. 16 years old, was sparring with Shakur
Oh, is that
Stevenson.
right?
How was
Amado.
that? Oh, and Amado too. Okay, how was that experience for them? Or, we don't have them on the show. How was it for you to see that? Because was Shakur already a world champion?
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. He was already world champion. It was definitely like pay-per-view sparring, if you ask me. No cameras were out. I mean, I was
old
making
school, man. That's the way you'd come up, man.
I was making sure. No, I'm big, bro. I'm big,
It's
bro.
harder in your generation, though, man. I
Yeah.
remember in my generation, we have these gym wars
Right?
at Lisa's gym,
my
my teen
God.
years and 20s.
Fernando,
And it was
Gym
easier.
wars you would have paid for.
But it was easier to avoid the cameras. Everybody checking for cameras. You couldn't really. Now with these phones, everybody can sneak. It's so much.
You
must
got
be
the
so much harder.
GoPros. I don't know if they got it in their hat or some. You know what I mean? Look, so no, it was good work. At the end of the day, of course, Shakur and Emmy had a great sparring session. Emiliano did great, and he I know he looked at his corner after the round like, this boy's good, man. Hey, he's like, because they've been following. I think they follow each other, and he said, after they were done sparring, he hugs him. He said, "This boy gonna be world champion. Watch," and gave him. It's that respect that he gave him already at that age. Like, this young bull could fight. You know what I mean? And my little brother's like Emichenko. We call him Emichenko. Uses so many angles. Uses that Canelo feint. I mean, every one of us is crazy. We don't try to fight like our father, like to the T. I don't look at fights and be like, okay, I want to fight just like my dad. No, we pull up. You can't even do that. I'm a slick southpaw. I go to the body. Like Earl Spence. I feel I'm slicker than Earl Spence, to be honest. I'm a power puncher. I'm a boxer puncher. Amado has a lot of my dad's. He'll take 3-4 punches to give his punches back. Very tough, very rugged. And Emiliano, he'll give you the oohs and the ahs. If you've never seen boxing, athleticism, yes. If you've never seen boxing, you want to see Emiliano Vargas. You're just like, wow, that is beautiful. How did he do that?
Well, you're going to tell us all about them. I got 2 more young fighters for you. Teofimo Lopez. I call him Tilo.
Tilo.
Is he going to be better and better as a 140-pounder, or do you think we've seen the best of him as a lightweight?
Look, that goes to his team. He shouldn't have been fighting at that weight for Kambosos. But I just feel, honestly, Kambosos, he's not a better skill fighter. I feel Teofimo is a better fighter skill-wise. Are you kidding me? But let his emotions got involved. You see it when the ref was trying to separate him the first round. He was like, trying to just knock him out. No game plan. He wasn't using no jabs. Just loading up because he let his emotions get involved, had no game plan, and that's where he messed up. I feel he would have even knocked out Kambosos if he would have started boxing, been on his slippery, Teofimo on his, if we would have started off with a game plan of box, establish a jab, counter first, then once he puts his punches together, then take him out of there, I feel it would have been an easy fight. He could have stopped him 6th, 7th, 8th round.
But does that come to the maturity of Kambosos because of his age and experience and his veteran experience?
But you can't knock Kambosos as well. No, you're right.
Over the youth of Teofimo, because I'm the same way. I thought going into the fight, Kambosos is super tough, but at the end of the day, I've seen
skills pay the bills.
I've seen Teofimo be not only skilled but explosive and really have a solid knowledge of how to set things up. And he came into this fight and, to me, looked like late career Mike Tyson. Late career Mike Tyson, I remember, used to just come into fights and just look at knock guys out. He wasn't really setting anything up.
Right.
And Teofimo has had highlight reel knockouts where you could easily fall in love with your power. Like you could shoot as a fan, you could fall in love with that kind of power. I know I did. I was like amazed by some of these Teofimo Lopez knockouts. So I think it played on his head a little bit. Kambosos knew how to play on that a little bit, and you also got a guy where at this level, sometimes you got guys like George Kambosos who ain't going anywhere. You might have to skill them because you are not outmanning them in that way. You may be just as much man as them.
Right.
You may be able to go butt heads like 2 rams, and in that way, psychologically, where you're not going to wilt to each other, you're not going to break to each other. But at that point, if you have the skills to make you superior, you have to know, okay, this is the kind of fight where I've got to make it a skill fight because this guy is a ram, is a hard-headed ram like I am. And I think Teofimo fell into that trap. Kambosos knew, okay, we're going to make this guy
catching him in between the punches.
Yes, we got to make this guy fight this kind of fight because if we make him fight his kind of fight, it's not to our advantage.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a little bit of solid veteran intelligence from Kambosos. He's like, I'm going to beat this because Kambosos told us, I remember I did an interview with him, he told, we knew that. We were going into it, reeling him into this, kind of fishing him into this kind of fight, and we kind of knew we were going to get him into this kind of fight. And that's a solid veteran right there. You know what I mean? That's a solid veteran, and he's a world champion today for that reason.
No, I take my hat off to Kambosos. He actually follows me. I follow him. Shout out to him. He's ferocious as well, man. Hey, congrats on that win. But as far as Teofimo, right? I just feel he didn't have a game plan. Fought with his emotions, and fell in love with his power. But he's one of my favorite fighters. I'll tell you why. He's just so skillful, man. I mean, even the way he hits the bag a little bit, I try looking at him and shadow boxing and try to pick up on a few things that he does. But he's a skillful fighter, and I know he's going to bounce back.
And I think Teofimo Lopez could go as far as he wants to go.
100%.
I think it comes down to his mental makeup and his
You think
maturity.
that Loma fight, after the Loma fight got to his head? Be real.
He was telling us right after the Loma fight, he said, I'm done at lightweight. How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
Man.
He said, I'm done.
But that whole Triller stuff, it dragged all the way 2 years or year and a half. Yeah. That messed him up, man.
I'll tell you what.
Momentum.
I was talking to Antonio Tarver about this last week, and he was saying he just never felt Kambosos came down from the celebration of that win. It was like, yeah, I won. And he never put his hands back down. Like, I won.
Gotcha.
Like this, and his hands never came back down to get ready to fight. He kind of stayed in that mental championship mental mode.
Undisputed.
But he never got back into fight mode.
Yeah.
And kind of just focus on, and that's the thing what I tell people, your accolades don't win you the next fight.
No, it doesn't,
Your
man.
highlight reels don't win you the next fight. All those are in the past. Your next opponent never cares
Look
about
at Broner
that.
Maidana.
Yep, same thing.
Come on,
Same
man.
thing.
I feel he's more talented than Floyd. Remember I told you this? Broner, as far as natural skill, just his reaction time, the way, I mean, Broner is so skillful, but no discipline. Like to party, wanted to be a rapper. All this different stuff,
you know,
man.
you're talking
You
about
can't
Broner.
you can't compartmentalize.
You can't be
yourself.
everything, bro.
Fernando Vargas Jr., my final young fighter to you,
Okay.
and I'm crazy about this guy.
Okay.
The way I'm becoming crazy about you with your personality
Thank you.
in boxing.
Thank you.
Xander Zayas, welterweight, now junior middleweight. I don't think that junior middle. He's March 19th. It will be, I think, his last fight. I was with him last week in Florida.
Okay.
And I looked up at him and I said, "You ain't 154." He said, "One more fight."
No, yeah. Hey, Xander, very talented. Shout out to Xander. He was actually in the amateurs with my younger brothers. He kind of caught him towards the end before he went professional. Super talented fighter from Puerto Rico. Has charisma. Could really fight. He puts his punches in bunches. Puts his punches together very well. He's fundamentally sound. I really like Xander. He's the future.
Yo, man, we're already getting Fernando Jr. practicing his analyst skills, man. Look at the names.
Paulie.
And he's giving us the analytical view, yo. I like it.
If there's a good check, if there's the right amount of zeros to the right, not to the left, I'll do it.
Tell us about your brothers that we're going to be
Yes.
meeting very, very soon.
Amado El Malvado Vargas. It means the evil one. Because he just wants to knock you out. Am I right? He just wants to knock you out. He doesn't care about, I mean, we're trying to get him a little more slippery. Bro, we got to tell him box.
And guys like that complicate their life. You know?
I'm like, bro, you didn't have to take all those punches. He's like, I don't care. He never hurt me. But he's a very tough fighter. He did so good for this preparation. We were going to fight in Mandalay Bay together. He dropped his sparring partner with the left hook to the body. Boom. It was looking so good, man. I was so mad he wasn't able to fight, but he's the future. Amado fights at 126. 126, watch out. Amado Vargas is coming. And then you got Emiliano Vargas that's making his pro debut splash. He has 130 amateur fights, 9-time national champion, and beats some of the best amateur fighters in the nation.
And what weight is he?
I don't know. He fights at a heavier weight than Amado. I think he's gonna camp in around 130.
He's still growing.
He's still growing.
Yeah, he's still
He's getting taller than me.
Yeah, he's only,
you know,
17?
Yeah, I'm passing by the restroom by him, and he like kind of shoulder bumps me. I'm like, I'm your older brother, bro. You better watch out, bro. Stay out of my weight class because I'm trying to win, bro. You better not. You can't beat up your big bro.
You know, earlier, Paulie,
I love him, man.
we were talking to you about what you were like in high school. Class bully? No. You know, the popular guy and everything. You said, the girls never complain. In the Rocky movies, in Rocky 1, which even, you weren't even born when Rocky 1, and I'm sure you've watched it 100
He wasn't even
times.
born when Rocky 5 came out.
Hello. In Rocky 1, he's hitting the bag, and his trainer Mickey says to him, "And what's with that pet shop dame?" And he's, "Oh, come
what's
on,
that? And what's that? What?
Pet shop
that
dame.
pet shop dame?"
Oh, okay.
Dame was an old school word for a woman. back in the
okay,
day.
got
She
you.
worked in a pet shop. He goes, "What's with that pet shop dame?" And he goes, "Oh, come on, Mick, we're just having a little fun." And he's, "Yeah, then let her train you. Women weaken legs."
Yeah, man.
What
Yes,
do you
they
think?
do.
Is that old school? Do women weaken legs?
Let me tell you something. I know boxing fans because they don't know anything for boxing. What Roger Mayweather said, most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing, and it's true. If you've never fought, you know what, nephew? I used to fight everybody used to fight Golden Gloves. Like, bro, can you name another tournament besides Golden Gloves? Oh, you know, and then I just asked him this one. Well, wait. Oh, you know, it was so long ago that, you know. Anyways, but it's just, my whole thing is, I just feel, I don't know, like, it depends.
They scared the hell out of me, man. When I remember people saying the same thing, and for a big part of my career, I was very scared. But I don't like to have sex close to the fight. You know?
My whole thing is like this. I really got to think about this because some boxing fans could be like, well, if that motherfucker's gonna beat you, he's gonna beat you regardless. It's man versus man. It don't matter. But I've sparred before where I'm like, it works sometimes, and then sometimes
Exactly.
you feel tired. And I'm being real. Your legs are like, you're stretching out, and you're like, man, like, what's going on?
And then the psychology.
It's the
plays in it because
I
if
feel it's the
people
psychology.
People start talking about it. In my experience in this thing, at first I was dead scared. People had me scared, and that's it. I didn't want to have any sex anywhere near the fight. Then as my career wore on, I realized, sometimes during camp I was having sex right before sparring sessions, and it depended. Sometimes I had a great sparring session the day after having
sometimes
sex.
it works, sometimes it wouldn't.
You know what I started to realize later in my career was when it would affect me in sparring was when my legs were already tired before I had sex. My legs were already tired from the training.
Already.
So I should have been resting instead of having sex and weakening them more. If you were good and then had sex and you were fine in that camp, you were not sore, your legs were not tired, and you had sex, the next day you were still capable of reacting. Sometimes even better, I have to be honest with you. Sometimes you were reacting even better. So I started to get less nervous about it, but I still didn't want to have sex too close to the fight. But I'll tell you a story.
Go ahead.
When I fought Orlando Lora in L.A. on the undercard of Dawson versus Hopkins.
This is going to be a good one now.
Yeah. And I remember I was short. I was having trouble making the weight. I was like, man. So there was one of my exes was in town, was in L.A. She actually came into the fight. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to work this weight off having sex, man, the night before the weigh-in. So I convinced myself that it was okay. I didn't want to work. I was tired, make a weight and all this stuff.
Told you it was going to be good.
I'll be honest. It's the only time I did this. I had sex the night before the weigh-in. Like I told her, I was like, I'm gonna do all the work. I gotta sweat. I gotta do all the work. I gotta do all. Yo, I'm telling you, it worked, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you, it worked. Like I lost the weight, and in the fight. If you watch that fight
That's
I had with
funny,
Orlando Lora at the time was 28-1. He ended up later becoming an opponent for people. He was 28-1. It was a fight before I won the world title with Sinchenko. So Orlando Lora was the fight that led to that. Orlando Lora was 28-1. He was a Mexican Olympian, ex-Mexican Olympian at the time. But he was, he was brought in as the B-side nonetheless. Right. He clipped me with a good right hand in the first round. Like, that kind of woke me up. Okay. And then the rest of the fight, I just outboxed him. But I remember thinking after the fight, my legs were good all 10 rounds. Like I was boxing real well.
Right. It's like hit or miss, right? Yeah. But I just feel why risk it? My whole thing is this.
You're right.
It's what are you coming into the ring with? Even weigh-ins. This guy's not letting me eat. This guy's not letting me fuck. This guy's not letting me. Yeah. You feel me?
Yeah.
So if I'm not touching my girl for a whole 2 months, then I gotta beat you up, my boy. Like I need that.
Like, you can't have a good meal. You can't do this.
No.
You're thirsty.
Yeah.
You're in a bad mood.
You know how it is.
Somebody got to get it. Somebody's got to get it.
So I'd rather not even mess with it. My dad's, like I said, very old school. So I don't even want to jeopardize it. I'm sacrificing more than you are. It's like kind of like what Floyd says, I'm running at 2 a.m. I'm working out while you're sleeping. It's kind of like the psychological part of the sport. So I don't do it.
Good for you. But I believe that. And all the old-time guys from the Custom Mottos and the Gil Clancy's and Angelo Dundies.
They didn't want to hear it.
Always told
They don't want to hear it. Right.
Those guys don't want to hear it.
It's a sin.
As a guy in one pro fight and like 40 amateur fights, I knew that when I was training, if I messed around, it wasn't 7 o'clock in the evening. It was midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You were up. I could be playing you chess all night. It's staying up all night.
Yeah, it
and
is.
your body, you're working hard. You're in that gym doing
it's the
everything.
Focus. Yeah, right.
You need to train hard. You need to rest hard, if you will.
Well, even when I'm in camp, I'm not going out with my homies. Gonna go get something to eat. I go home.
Yep.
Gym home.
Yep.
It's a switch. So like Paulie said, some days it may have helped me even more to maybe have sex because I'm more relaxed. I can flow a little better. But I'd rather not even mess with it because I don't want it to be that night where I got to fight and then it's messing up.
And it might play on your head.
It's
a tough fight. It's the 8th round. It's the final round. You got to dig down. You know that you got to win the round. And you start saying, all night long I was up last night.
Yeah, like it's a psychological thing. I'm the same way. I always, when I get my hands wrapped, it's always left. Whenever I put my gloves in,
I was the same
always
way.
left.
Oh, left? Okay.
Why left?
I don't know.
I always used to do my left because
I'm a southpaw. So it's
and that's the thing. I fought right hand, and I said, I said everything starts with the jab.
Right.
So I got to put in their hand wrap. That was my
and you
psychology.
Had a beautiful jab, bro.
Yeah, that was my psychology. Everything starts with the jab, so I got to wrap my left hand first. Put the left glove on first. That was my thing. It's funny, we have these weird, subtle superstitions. You know? It's weird, but that's how I always did it. I want to switch up real quick.
Yes.
Because otherwise, again, every time I got one of you here, we could talk forever. But I want to talk about, you've been on FightStars.tv recently.
Yeah.
You got your own Vargas Tube channel. Tell us about that. We want to broadcast that out there. We want people at home to know.
Thank you. Yeah, follow us on Vargas Tube. We have a family show, family YouTube channel. We're actually here. In the same seats that you're sitting in. And we just want you guys to have, a background of us or a different side of us that you guys don't see. You guys just see us when we're there at the fights, taking pictures and being about the fans. But we want you to see us with our hair down. We want you to see some of the embarrassing moments. We want you to see the personalities of each Vargas, because everyone, when they see all three of us together, it's like, Emmy, Amado. It's like, I get it. I don't even say anything no more.
Family, not just the Vargas boxers.
So some of you fans confuse us, and with the Vargas Tube, you get to really know us at a personal level. So please follow us on Vargas Tube.
Yeah, check that out, guys. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, Paulie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Gotta give those shout outs, man. And that'll be it for Paulie.tv. Today, we had the commish, Randy Gordon, Fernando Vargas Jr., and the Vargas Dynasty. We keep talking. We'll keep talking forever. So you know what? I had to cut down the show again. Every time I got one of these dudes on the show, one of the Vargas family, I'll lose track of time if I don't.
We got love for you, Paulie.
I got love as well, man. I got love as well. That's the way it is. We'll see you guys next time. You haven't seen the last of Fernando Vargas Jr. or his brothers. The Vargas Dynasty will continue. We want to have them on the show. Follow them on the Vargas Tube on YouTube. Check them out. Rainy the Commish. I'm the champ, Paulie Malignaggi. I'll see you next time.